to talk a little bit about exposure type claims, the chemicals or other substances in the workplace, in the work environment. Sometimes they're difficult to deal with, and sometimes difficult to make that connection between the exposure itself and a work injury that keeps someone out of work and unable to go back in that environment. However, these are recognized workers' compensation injuries. They're very fact specific, very much dependent on past medical histories and the actual exposures, and communicating with the employer to find out what are those chemicals that their workers are exposed to. And this can be a department to department issue as well. So the background investigation of these types of claims is very important. You get the information on the technical data from the sheets, from the chemicals being used in the plant, or if it's a dust situation, or anything that you can imagine that is an exposure in a workplace. These are the things that we look at when an individual calls us with an exposure claim. In addition to the background investigation, it's also the type of claim that we follow very closely, because the law it's pretty clear, although there's a lot of gray area in this type of claim, is whether or not an individual, when they're removed from that environment, from the exposure, do they go back to their baseline of where they were before they started working there, or do they never quite get back to baseline, and each time they try to go back to work, this exposure recreates the issue? That's the claim that becomes the most difficult to deal with in the long run, because the employer is going to say, hey, you voluntarily decided to come work here. We have PPE for our employees. We're doing everything we can. We're meeting all the OSHA requirements. The employer can't just throw up their hands and say, we've done everything we possibly could. It's still a workers' compensation claim. It still needs to be treated as serious as someone that has an orthopedic injury. Because quite honestly, that individual, while doesn't have the physical disabilities, can't go into that work site and earn their paycheck. And that's where we come into play to help out. So if you have any exposure issues at work, if you even want to just discuss what your options are, please reach out to us here at O'Connor Law. We can help you out.